Would you listen if a kid told you to run? Last summer, I was walking my dog in the park when a boy, maybe 10 years old, stopped me. He looked scared and gave me a walkie-talkie. "Take this," he said, "and run." I was confused. "What?" I asked, laughing a little. "Just run," he said, then ran into the trees. Before I could react, the walkie-talkie made a sound. A deep voice said, "Go to the big tree, now." I don't know why, but I listened. I ran. My dog ran with me, happy like it was a game. But I was not happy, I was scared. I followed them. The voice gave me directions. The voice said, "Take it." At the big tree, I found a small metal box. "Leave the walkie, go home. Don't look back." Inside the box was a key and a photo of the boy. I never saw him again.
Single parents. What's your best dating story? I told Pete that I have a 6-year-old daughter when we were on our first date. He said he hated kids, so I knew this wasn't going to be a serious relationship. So Pete and I just enjoyed fooling around for a while on nights. My daughter was at her dad's, but weeks became months, and months became a year. And I realized I was really falling for him. I hated that I was catching feelings, because I knew there wasn't a future if he didn't like kids. I decided I was going to have to end things with him, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. One night, we were hanging out at my place, and my ex came by unexpectedly with my daughter. She'd had a nightmare at his house and wanted me. I was trying to keep my daughter from really noticing Pete. I didn't want her bonding with someone who was just going to drop out of her life. But of course, she was immediately curious about the new person. Before I could do anything, Pete crouched down and said, "Hey, Molly, I'm Pete. Want to see a magic trick?" Then he did a few simple tricks for her, pulling coins out from behind, for ear, and stuff like that. She was delighted, and I was stunned. P was clearly so good with kids. After my ex was gone, and I got Molly in bed, I asked Pete when he learned magic. He said, "A few months ago." I figured if I was going to be with a woman with a kid, I should learn a thing or two about making them laugh. I had no idea he'd been taking our relationship that seriously for that long. It's 2 years later now, and I'm pretty sure Pete and Molly like each other more than either of them likes me.
I thought my neighbor was spying on me, until I found out why. So for weeks, I kept noticing my neighbor across the street staring at my house late at night, like, just sitting by the window, lights off, completely still. It started creeping me out. I even told my friends and they said I should report it. One night, I finally had enough and went outside to confront him. I was ready to argue, but when I got closer, I saw something weird. He wasn't looking at me, he was looking at the tree in my yard. Confused, I asked him what was going on. He looked embarrassed and said, "Sorry, I used to sit with my daughter under that tree. She passed away last year. Your house is the only place I can see it from now." I didn't know what to say. All that time I thought I was being watched, but really, he was just remembering someone he lost. Now I just wave at him sometimes.
Deep on in high school. Now she wants me back because I'm doing well. When I was 17, I was deeply in love with my girlfriend. We were together for 2 years, and I genuinely thought she was the one. Then, I found out she had been cheating on me with one of my friends. Not just once, months of it. They didn't even bother hiding it in the end. I remember just sitting there, staring at my phone, feeling completely stupid. I cut them both off and focused on myself. No revenge, no drama, just work, school, and building my life from zero. Fast forward a few years. I started a small online business, then another. It somehow took off more than I ever expected. I'm not rich, but I'm doing very well now. Out of nowhere, she came back. First it was a "Hey stranger," then long messages about how she made a mistake and misses what we had. Funny thing is, she didn't miss me when I had nothing.
My Sil called us selfish for quitting, but won't foster a kid herself. We were foster parents for years. We loved it. We gave everything we could, but we also had 3 kids of our own, and we were careful never to take in too many, so no one felt pushed aside. Then, 5 years ago, we got the sweetest little 2-year-old boy. We bonded fast. He called us mom and dad, and my kids called him brother. Yet, we were told he might be adoptable soon. 3 years later, his biological mom gave up her rights. The adoption process started. We were already picturing his future with us forever. And then, out of nowhere, the caseworker said he was being removed. No warning, no second chances, just gone. Why? Because the system decided he'd be better off with parents who had no kids. Despite how deeply he loved us, despite how excited he was to finally belong, they said he'll recover. He's young, like he hadn't already been through enough. My husband and I were crushed. But more than that, we were terrified to go through that pain again. Our kids sobbed for weeks. So, we stopped fostering because caring broke us. We told a few family members and word got around them, but I didn't tell my sister-in-law directly and she blew up. Said I was selfish for quitting. She was a foster kid herself. I get it, but we're human too.
I was a sniper in the army, but I saw something that still gives me nightmares. During a night mission, I spotted a target through my thermal scope. He was just standing there in the middle of a forest. But when I looked with my naked eyes, there was nothing. Just trees. I looked back through the scope, and the figure was now running directly toward me. He looked like a glowing human heat signature, but he had no face. I pulled the trigger, but the bullet passed right through him. He stopped right in front of my hiding spot, whispered, "I see you too," and my scope suddenly went black. When I got back to base, I found out 3 other snipers had gone missing in that exact spot. What would you do? Comment below.